Welcome to Connecting for Resilience, the video podcast where we share practical tools to build up and support everyone's resilience. Each episode, our resiliency educators will talk with experts about ways to stay healthy and connected during tough times, and demonstrate our easy-to-use strategies with the help of parents, educators, healthcare workers, and others from around the community. Join us as we work together to de-stress and deepen our resilience.
Welcome to the Resources for Resilience, Connecting for Resilience podcast, sponsored in part by the North Carolina Partnership for Children. I'm your host, Victor Jones, licensed clinical social worker and resilience educator and Circle of Security parenting facilitator. The COVID-19 pandemic is affecting everyone, and how we respond also affects everyone. With the recent developments, we are at a point where there is hope for vaccines being distributed quickly, while facing the reality that there will be another 6 or more months of difficult choices that we will have to make around protecting ourselves, the people that we care about, and those for whom we are responsible. There's a constant learning curve about how the coronavirus moves. We know two basic science messages. Social distancing and prolonged physical separation is absolutely necessary to slow down the pandemic. And supportive connection is essential for strengthening resilience in the face of adversity. We also know that those who have struggled with financial, parenting, marital, mental health, and physical issues before the pandemic are also greatly affected. The toxic load of adversities around unstable housing and job opportunities, social isolation, racism, limited access to medical care, and fears related to immigration are leading to increasing rates of family violence, mental health, and addiction problems. Let's look at this from a biological perspective. We are all humans with a nervous system. COVID-19 is a huge jolt to the nervous system, creating ongoing threat to our health and safety. Increased threat to older people and those with underlying conditions. It is a threat to parents who have been dealing with having their kids underfoot 24/7, while still having to manage, at best, working virtually from home or needing to work in an essential service, or at worst, have lost their jobs. Parents and kids alike are struggling from feeling trapped at home. With this jolt of COVID, what this jolt of COVID does is bumps us out of our resilience zone and can throw us into amped up or shut down, compromising our ability to think clearly and to connect with others. Tonight, we have our special guest, Susanne Walker Wilson. Susanne is a licensed clinical social worker and has been working with children and families for over 25 years. She's the mother of two wonderful young men, and she's deeply involved in Circle of Security parenting and teaching this methodology across the state of North Carolina. Susanne, could you tell us a bit more about Circle of Security parenting?
Thanks, Victor. It's great to be here, and I'm looking forward to the parents and grandparents on this screen being able to share your names in a little while as well. I will talk about Circle of Security parenting. It's one of my favorite things. This is a parent-child relationship model that really makes sense out of our children's behavior and also how we can meet our kids' needs, both as they head out away from us to explore their world, which all children are naturally wired to do, and as they come back into us, seeking comfort or protection or delight in who they are, just a little touch base, or maybe even the way to help them organize their feelings. So what Circle Security does is give us a roadmap and kind of a visual model. We don't have that image tonight, but imagine hands that are holding our kids. And what's really neat about this model is that it's not just for parents or foster parents, grandparents, aunts and uncles. It's actually for any grown-up that's being with a child. So that's early educators and all the folks that make up our community of kin who help us raise our children. And what we talk about as kind of the mantra of Circle of Security is, whenever possible, follow my child's need, and whenever necessary, take charge. So part of this roadmap is understanding what are the needs that all children have, whether they're just a few days old or whether they're as big as my kids in their early 20s. As they head out to explore the world and do their thing, and as they come back into us to say, okay, I think my cup is kind of empty, or I'm tired, or that hurt, and I'm ready for a little bit of connection. So that's the circle in a nutshell. And this is an 8-week parenting offering. So we call them groups rather than classes. And folks wind up participating for an hour and a half once a week across an 8-week span in relatively small groups. When they're offered virtually, like we're doing mostly right now, that's going to be just maybe 5 people or even 4 people on the screen. In real time, often that looks like 8 or 10 parents who gather together across time. And this notion of being hands for our kids is about being bigger, stronger, wiser, and kind. So we're balancing the ways in which we need to take charge and offer limits and clarity for children, but also the way in which, whenever possible, we're going to be tender and kind with them. No nonsense tenderness is one of the phrases that I really like in Circle of Security. So I found this really helpful for all of us. One of the things I love about it is that it's a universal model. So it's just as true for folks who've had really rough times in their own lives early on, or even having really rough times with their children right now, as it is for people who have lots of safety nets and are doing pretty well. The truth is, all of us have something we call shark music, which is that do-do, 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 do-do feeling when our kid is losing it or on our last nerve or leaving us feeling some kind of way. And we're able to notice the shark music and set it aside from what we know is also true about our child. If we can calm our shark music down, which fits with this reconnect model of settling our own nervous system, then we can attend to what's really going on with our child. But unfortunately, shark music can get in the way. We can get amped up or shut down, right? And when we do, suddenly these other tapes run in our head about what's going on with our kids' behavior. And it really separates us from being able to be with them, which is the most important thing we can do, is not try to make kids feel better or take away what's troubling them if they're upset, or even tell them they need to suck it up, buttercup, but instead to actually be with them in their feelings and allow them to feel the fullness of it, knowing that no feeling is too big for them to be able to feel if we're with them. So instead of having to hide our feelings or escape from them, which we know can create a bunch of trouble later in our lives when we're tweens and teens, we actually get the message when we're very little. Nobody's going to leave me all alone in big feelings. And my grown-ups will help me organize this and be with me in whatever I'm feeling until that time passes and I can pull it back together and be up on the top of the circle again. So that's it in a nutshell. I'm really grateful for this model. It's been especially helpful to me during COVID because, like all of you, I am feeling stressors that are different and bigger than they were before this pandemic hit all of us. So I'm curious, I'm interested in hearing from each of you who are parents and grandparents. If you'd share with us your name and where you're from, how old your kids are, and what are some of the things that are really you're finding stressful or intense during COVID related to being the grown-up with little ones that you care for and love? Who wants to go first?
I'll go.
Yeah. Hi, Kyler.
Hi, my name is Kyler Daniels, and I am from Rocky Mount, calling in from Rocky Mount, North Carolina. Um, I have a daughter. She's 2 years old, and her name is Nova. One of the things I think for me has been stressful during COVID is I've had to give a lot of attention to my daughter, and I really haven't been able to give myself the attention that I need. And in saying that, I mean like putting down some of the things that I've wanted to do for myself, like some of my aspirations. I haven't really been able to focus on myself just because I want to be able to put extra focus onto my daughter, just because I know that this is a scary thing for her. She doesn't know everything that's going on. So I want to be, like you're talking about, big hands. I want to be those big hands that hold her up. So just not being able to do some of the things that I want to do for myself is stressful.
Totally. That makes a ton of sense. Thanks. Who else?
Hi, my name's Lindsey Foster, and I'm in Asheville, North Carolina, and I have two boys, 4 and one that's almost 2. And like Kyler said, I think the hardest part has been not having the balance that I need as a mom and as a professional. It feels like by the end of the day, like I'm on empty and there's no opportunity to refill my cup. And the things that refill me just aren't available to me, like hanging out, being with people and family, and just alone time. There is no alone time right now. And so, yeah, I just feel like there's no balance in my life, and it is pedal to the metal all day, every day, without an end in sight.
We can feel it, Lindsey. I got you.
Well, that all makes sense. And my name is Jenny Vial. I live in Asheville as well. My kids are 15, 9, 7, and the baby will be 3 next week. So probably should stop calling her the baby. And they're all home. I think for us, it's been about like knowing that. I mean, I've been really lucky to work from home, and my wife is home full time, and we have a lot of, we have a good ratio of like adults to kids, right? But my kids are, I feel like they should be doing better than they are. And, and it's hard to separate what is just normal sibling stuff and what is even home. And you haven't seen anybody else. My 7-year-old especially is super social and deals with a lot of anger issues and has been just like waking up angry, and so like this morning it was like 7:00 and he came in and just like shouting, just like, I hate, just, I know he's just mad, like I know, but still it's like, what are like this kind of feeling of like, are we doing enough, even though we're literally here all the time? And like helpless more rather than like missing out for me, because I get to kind of come in and have some space for work. But yeah, just like, what else can we do for them and not knowing?
Gotcha. Yvette, you want to share?
Yeah, my name is Yvette Richardson, and I'm also down in Rocky Mount, North Carolina, and I'm a grandparent on the call. I have 4 grandchildren, a 14-year-old, a 7-year-old, a 2-year-old, and a 4-month-old. So I think for me as a grandparent, you talk about those hands that hold. So I've got hands that want to hold my children as well as hands that want to hold my grandchildren. And it's really difficult, right? Trying to make sure everybody's safe in doing that. Trying to hold back my opinion as a grandparent when my children's opinions are different about parenting and, going back to school. The 14-year-old, 7-year-old, they are back in the school building, which I totally disagree with. but it's not my decision to make. So, but it makes me angry that my children, made that decision, because I personally, I don't think it's the best decision. So I've got all of these feelings around trying to be supportive, trying to keep, as much as I can, keep my children safe, keep my grandchildren safe. And, I guess that sense of feeling helpless as well. And then not wanting to give too much of my parenting advice to my children, because I don't want to make them feel guilty about the decisions that they're making, or, judging what they're doing in what they feel is the best decision that they need to make for their family. And then not being able to move as I used to as a grandparent, where I would go and, you're with your grandkids and you're stepping in where the parents have to do something else. And again, for the sake of safety, not being able to do those things right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Man, so many of the things you all are saying, well, they all make sense to me, and I hear them among friends, and I feel some of them as well. Thank you for sharing. That overarching sense of like, I'm all tapped out. I don't know where the end's in sight. The things I used to do aren't available to me. I'm watching my kids and myself have bigger feelings than we know what to do with, and they're coming fast and they're staying long, right? Boy, that makes a ton of sense. And Kyler, your comment about I want to do some things to fill up my cup and become who I want to be, and it's not the season for that. It feels like it's a season for really focusing on Nova and safety, and it's tricky. Yeah. So one of the things I appreciate so much about circle security is this phrase they use, that blame is a dead end street. And I find that when big feelings are happening and big behaviors are happening, it can be easy for us, even though we might never talk about it in this language, to hold inside our mind a sense of like, what's wrong with my kid? Or what's wrong with me and my partner or spouse or anybody else that's helping me raise this kid? Because like, it's not working, right? I don't know what we're doing, but we're feeling helpless. We're feeling out of control. It's not working. And if blame is a dead end street, then we don't have to blame our child, as in, why you acting like that? Or you got to pull it together, or what's wrong with you? Or ourselves, with all that kind of helpless, guilty stuff that can fall over us. Because actually, in either direction, whether we wind up getting out of balance on that seesaw and heading towards harsh or mean towards our kids or ourselves, or weak, out of balance in a way that says, oh, just whatever, do whatever you want, eat whatever you want, throw the Cheerios wherever you want. In either one of those directions, we're actually taking our hands off the circle. We're abdicating what they need most, which is for us to be solid and steady. Hard to do when our cup is empty, Lindsey tells us, right? And I feel you, girl. But as we're able to stop trying to figure out, is the problem me or them, and start noticing, okay, what's going on here? Is my kid on the top of the circle, heading away from me, feeling competent and hungry to be independent and separate and doing their own thing? Or is my kid on the bottom of the circle, showing me that they really need some help right now, organizing big feelings, or maybe even their body, whether they're 7 or 7 months, right? Or some comfort or some protection in this moment, and some delight just for who they are, even in all that. So sorting out whether my child is on the top or the bottom of the circle in terms of the big behavior, or whether I'm on the top or the bottom of the circle based on how I'm feeling right now, right? And then from that, figuring out what need needs to be met. So when I think about Kyler or Lindsey talking about themselves, and they're saying, I don't have what I need right now to be the hands I want to be for my kid. I got to have somebody pour into my cup. One of the things it immediately does for me is raise the question, who and what are hands for us? Because actually, for us to be able to create the secure base and the safe haven for our child, we get to have this other bigger set of hands that's doing the very same thing for who we are. And I'm curious, sometimes it feels like, well, I could tell you who my hands were before COVID, but I don't know who they are now. And that's real because, Lindsey, I heard you say, like, being with other people is what helps me feel better, and I need connection. Or Kyler saying, I want to be out on the top of the circle, learning my thing and doing my thing. But I want us to back away from our children for just a minute in the conversation and think about yourselves. Who or what is hands for you? A community or a place, or especially the people in your life who are able to see what's going on with you and be with you, not asking you to feel better or different than you do, or pushing you to get over it, but just showing up in your life and saying, I got you, you're not alone. Anybody have some experiences of noticing hands for yourself?
I think I noticed some hands just in my friend group. We're not able to be with each other all the time, but we have like group messages and we can talk about different things and talk about some things that might be hard for us. We do like mental health check-ins, all those kinds of things lift me up when I'm down sometimes. So
Totally.
and also my church family, we're able to meet. Even though I know a lot of churches aren't getting together and congregating right now, but I have a smaller church family, so we have been able to do it, and it's just been awesome for me to still be able to have that family to be a set of big hands for me.
And Kyler, when you're with your church family, does it, or your friends on these different chats and stuff, does it feel like it's okay to be wherever you're really at and you get to come how you are?
Absolutely.
And you're not alone, and they're going to be with you until things feel a little bit different and better.
Yes.
My goodness. Right on. Anybody else have hands in your life?
My best friend moved from Asheville to Colorado about 2 years ago. And so actually it meant that with COVID, we were already we already had an established way of being together that didn't involve being in the same space. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I missed a trip and, we should have seen her in person, but having that, just like that connection be the same throughout this whole time, with FaceTime and texting and all of it has actually been really this extra kind of bonus that that's a thing that stayed. Mm-hmm. And she's always, some of the biggest hands holding me for sure, but that normalcy has been important too.
Anybody else have a way in which you notice the hands that are holding you that help you do that 24/7 thing you're talking about for your kids or your grandkids?
I would say I've got really great in-laws and parents and a sister. My sister's kids are pretty much the same ages as mine, so she gets it completely and has a way of making light of things that are really hard, so we can just talk and laugh, and that can just feel like she doesn't live near me, so like Jenny said, we've already had that routine of being on the phone, and we can call each other every morning and debrief the day and just be like, oh, you think that's bad? Listen to this one. But that metaphor of the hands, like I just see her hands along with our parents. We've got really supportive, helpful parents who are also not physically near us, but we've had those routines set up on the phone and things. So
right on.
I think for me, it's just sitting here thinking about it. It's actually been my daughter, so my young adult daughter who lives with me. Her name is Joy. She actually brings me a lot of joy. She can pick up on my moods, and sometimes she'll just yell from upstairs, "Mommy, I love you." Mommy, just sweet things like that. Or I'll come in and she'll see I might be tired. Mommy, you need a hug? Come here, let me just hug you, Mommy. And I mean, she's 21 years old, right? So I think those are the hands that have been holding me up close and personal. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll say one last thing before we shift into another part of the conversation. I'm grateful that in the model of circle security, we talk about cues. That's a way in which we name a need very directly, right? Whether we're a very young baby saying, which is a cue for pick me up, hold me, love me, or older folks our age who can actually say, Joy, get in here and give your mama a hug. It's been one heck of a day, right? That's a cue. A miscue is a way in which we hide our need, whether we're aware of it or not, right? So a miscue looks like, how you doing, Suzanne? But I'm really having a rough one. And I go, oh, I'm fine. How are you? Right? Or a miscue might look like, what I really need is a big snuggle with my mamas in the morning. And instead I get mad and big and 7-year-old all over the place, right? And what I might really be longing for is connection and comfort and knowing who's got me. But the way I show it is all kind of disorganized and miscuing. And Jenny, that, let me assure you, we are all miscuing, not just your 7-year-old, right? So I just want to leave you with the thought about that. As we think about whose hands for us, how can we actually name what we need and ask from our people, whether they're at church or, a mental health check-in with close friends like Tyler's talking about, far away people that we love in Colorado or other parts of the country, or our own adult children who live with us, spouses, other people. How can we say, you know what, this is a mess. I need to talk. I'm sure you're busy, but sometime tonight, will you call me? And I'm going to take a walk around the block, feel that cold air on my face, and hear your voice, right? That's us turning towards our hands, asking for what we need in a really active way.
This has been so wonderful to listen to and so rich. And even the idea, or especially the idea of no matter how young or old we are, we need those hands of security and those hands of haven to strengthen us and to come back to. So thank you so much, Susanne, for sharing this information with us all and applying it to our parents and grandparents. We are going to utilize the remaining portion of our time to experience a listening circle. So we're going to shift gears a little bit and make some time to talk about or share what is a little bit stressful for you, or maybe even a lot stressful for you right now in this time, and apply some of the tools that we utilize in our listening circles that we have been conducting throughout the state. So at this time, who would like to share something that is a bit stressful for you?
Sure. I'm choosing my words carefully because my kids are within earshot. I think I'm just exhausted with the fighting, and I guess I'm thinking mostly about my little kids, my younger kids, and I know it's mostly normal, but like I just kind of like grit my teeth a lot when I leave the completely messy sanctuary of my bedroom office where I spend 20 hours a day. But like I'm just like today I only worked in the morning, and then I had nap time, and they were having nap time, and I was like, well, I'm gonna go in there, I'm gonna watch something, and I'm gonna knit. And I came in here and I was like, you are hiding from them. And then I just felt awful, and I just am like, they're just exhausting, Victor. And I'm just tired. They're just I don't have like a concise thing, but that's it. They won't stop fighting and they make me tired and I feel bad about that.
Mm.
There you go. That's the concise statement.
There's a lot going on and you feel tired. Want to get away from it all. Jenny, what would you say is the hardest part about that for you?
Today, I taught Reconnect all morning and all day yesterday. And I literally spend my days teaching people how to balance their own nervous system and how to move through their life and how to be better at where they show up. And then it's like, my wife once was like, can you bring work, Jenny, home with you? It's like, yeah, but like really struggle with it for myself and my own self. And it's like, I think the worst part is I know I should know better. I do know better. I know better, but yeah, that's it. That's it. Like, I know it's not like I don't have the skills.
So Jenny, I'm hearing that you're teaching this stuff as far as taking care of your nervous system and giving yourself space, but then it's really been difficult for you to do that for yourself. And you have some kind of tough feelings about that difference there between teaching it and living it sometimes. Am I hearing that okay?
Yeah, you got it.
Okay. Well, Jenny, you make sense to me. It makes sense that you feel that it feels tough to be helping other folks and working on, how do I help myself? Is that okay to say?
Yeah.
Okay. And I see that some tightness around your eyes there.
You know, it's funny. As soon as I said it out loud, I got this like searing pain, like right here. Yeah.
So kind of a searing pain, like a hot pain, like a sharp pain, or
yeah, like squeezing, like what you must have seen. Yeah.
Any other sensations that you're having?
I feel kind of nauseous.
Yeah. Some stuff deep down in your gut.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Jenny, you make sense to me. This is such a tough thing to be working through and helping other people. Jenny, what is helping you to just keep going and looking forward, or even if that's a appropriate thing to say, what's keeping you going? Or who is keeping you going?
You know, I work for 2 really great agencies, and my boss, that's funny. I never would have thought that this would come to mind, but my boss at the partnership is just this quiet, kind of cool, calm, collected, steady woman who 100% has my back, even when I really screw it up. And a couple weeks ago, I was like, hey, I'm going to take 3 weeks off at Christmas. And I need you to help me make that a thing. And she was like, why are you stressed about it? She was like, she looked at me and she said, you're really stressed about taking this time. I was like, well, yeah. She's like, stop. Like, okay. You know, and just like this kind of chill way of approaching things and holding me up. And so yesterday I was supposed to be on vacation from the partnership. I was doing some work for Resource for Resilience, and I was tying up some loose ends that I hadn't done. And she texted me and she was like, you told me you aren't checking your email. And like, she's like, I did this, this, and this, and like listed some things. And it's like, all right, okay. So yeah, like I work for a great place that like takes care of all of us, but I've had some really pointed support in that way and like stepping away from work when I need to. And yeah, I am like legitimately not going back until January 4th, which is really lovely. So I know that I'll get some time to settle in with my kids, and maybe today is just the transition. But
You know, Jenny, as you started talking about this person, I saw an easing across your face. I saw a smile come up. I even heard a nice deep breath come up.
Oh, to start yawning too. Yep.
Hey, that's okay. You know, that is absolutely welcome here. I give out gold stars for yawning, Jenny. You know that.
I do. Yeah.
Wow. Just curious. I mean, this is so wonderful to have this person. It sounds like, do you mind saying her name?
Now I'm a little like, is she going to watch this? But her name's Caroline.
Caroline?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah. So as we just slow down and consider this person, Caroline, that looks out for you. And did I hear you say, she said, you're really stressed out about this. Stop. Is that what I heard? Stop.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Well, why? I don't know. Don't be. Okay.
Don't be.
Yeah.
I'm wondering what else you imagine Caroline saying to you, or maybe she has said. Has there been something else really special that she has said to you that has really stuck with you?
She's really great all the way through COVID with not pushing away the stuff that's hard, but just like, yep, that's a thing. Okay. You know, just like giving me space to figure it out, you know, to figure out whatever it is. And I know that it's really great to have somebody kind of at my back, right? That I know that if I go and like, there was this day that I was speaking publicly to like a bunch of like community leaders. Like, I needed to have my game on, and I forgot the word for advocacy. And a whole lot of what our agency does is advocacy. And I called it law poking, y'all, in front of like county commissioners. Like, I was like, we're going to do some law poking. And I was mortified, and I called her, and she just was like, well, who was there? She's like, Jenny, they know you, and they know that you do good work, and it was fine. It's that kind of thing. Yeah. Law poking.
And she's just like,
come on.
Come on. They know you. They know you.
They know you. Yeah.
Ah. I see another deeper breath. All right. So Jenny, as we come back and we check in, see what's happening, and I see some shoulder stretching. I'm going to get some of that too. But as we do that, let's check back in and what's happening with your sensations around your face now.
It's not quite as wide. There's still a little bit like right here, but it's not the whole thing. It's like kind of the whole thing shifted.
All right. And can we check back in?
Again.
All right, lovely. Can we check back in with your gut? You mentioned a little bit of.
Yeah, it's not as bad.
Not as bad?
It's
okay.
Moving. Spread, like, what's the word? Dissipating.
All right, just kind of.
I still feel it, but it's kind of spreading out.
Misting away, spreading out.
Misting away, yeah, that's so great. Yeah, it's like.
Misting away, is that okay?
Yeah,
misting
yeah,
away.
it's fine.
I'm seeing the mist behind you.
I know, yeah.
On your computer screen, so.
That's what my belly's doing. It's going away.
It's kind of misting away. Super. And as you come back and think about all this support and moving forward, and even though it's kind of tough right now, you got, what are some thoughts that may come to your mind?
I think that I work for a family-friendly agency and am also, and so that like parallel of I can also show up for my kids in a full way because I've got this other thing. Like, I'm kind of struck by that dual thing that's happening for me. That like I've got space to be me, and I've got support to be me even when I'm having a bad day. And like, Susanne, I'm thinking about what you said earlier, because I'm not so sure that I was really thinking about that as a bid. And I, like, you're right. And this morning I got up when Naya came in real mad, and we went and we We played Mario Kart, actually. We played a video game with our big brother, who was weirdly up as well. And it was really sweet, and it totally dissipated that morning thing. So like, for me, that's what I'm thinking about like showing up and shaking off my whatever's happening to me.
Yeah, terrific. It's so wonderful that we don't have to be perfect.
Oh,
Just,
yay.
yeah, that is so cool. Yay. I'm counting on that. I'm telling you.
Right? Yeah. Thank you all.
Right.
That felt nice.
Thank you, Jenny. Thank you so much. All right. So this has been a special, beautiful time. And I'm so grateful for everyone being here. You know, everyone I'm looking at is a super special friend to me. And thank you all for being here.
So as we end tonight, thank you, Victor, so much for holding this space and being hands for us in it. To each one of you, mamas and grandmamas, for offering us your vulnerable, true experiences of both what's hard and how you're making it through. You know, we use the highlight tool in Reconnect for Resilience in a way that never negates what we're really feeling and what the very hardest parts are of things that are tough. All of that is welcome, and all of the fullness of our emotions, including helplessness and fatigue and losses and sadness, those things are welcome. And right alongside them is also something else that's really true about how you all are finding strong enough hands in your own lives and showing up for yourselves and your kids. And I appreciate that the highlight tool can let us know both of those at the same time. So go well, stay well, literally be well in the middle of COVID. Thanks for who you are and how you're making it through. Good night.